Hey guys, welcome back to another video here on Andrew Upshaw Fishing. Today is a little bit controversial. Just going to tell you flat out, it's something that all of you tend to overreact to slightly. So let's talk about it. Let's dive deep into this. But before you do, go ahead and drop it down and hit that subscribe button in the bottom right hand corner. And we're going to get right down to business right after this. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I got my buddy here, Bradley Hallman. I bet he's eaten a bass or two in his day.
I have.
Alright guys, that's the topic for discussion today, is talking about eating bass. Is it right or is it not right? I'm telling you right now guys, it's so much controversy wrapped around that one single topic. And I swear, it has imploded so many arguments on social media. And people just going at it. What do you have you eaten? Obviously, you've eaten a bass.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
What do you think? I mean, are we overreacting on the whole eating the bass thing? Is there a different direction maybe that we could go?
I think I've got mixed ideas, just like you do.
Yeah.
Like there was a time in my life when I did it.
Oh yeah.
And then there's a time now that I don't.
Yeah.
But I don't think bad. I mean, I know that some of the pros that we've traveled with when we've been on some of the smallmouth lakes where there's a lot of fish or different places, those guys have indulged in some fish.
Absolutely.
At night. And, you know, I don't think anything less of them. I know that even on the biologist standpoint, like I'm real good friends with Gene Gillen, who's the head biologist for Bassmaster. And he's from Oklahoma. And Gene has always been a big supporter of, you know, certain lakes. That's why leak limits are set, right?
Absolutely.
They're hoping that people will keep the fish under, even on slot limit lakes, such as a Lake Fork.
Yeah, absolutely.
They want you to keep some of the unders, right, your daily limit, and take some of those to the dinner table so that it helps
promote the bigger
growth.
fish.
Yeah, it helps the growth. So there's less
absolutely.
Competition for feeding, you know, with shad and bait and crawfish and whatever it is that their food forage is.
Yeah, and you know that's really important, guys. Is like, there's a reason they set these limits. They want you to eat bass. Now, should we all just go to the lake and catch our legal limit and all of us eat them at the same time? Absolutely not. Should we, you know, really throttle ourselves, basically? Like, should we, if there's an 8 fish limit, should we only eat 4? You know, should we, in like a case like a Toledo Bend or Sam Rayburn, they have spotted bass. Spotted bass absolutely don't play in any tournaments. Right. If anything, they kind of get in the way a lot of times. Right. Should we only eat spotted bass? You know, is there a way that we can kind of curve everybody's expectation? Because I'm telling you one thing, I'm sick and tired of people just, anglers, and not people, anglers, just going at it on social media about people eating bass. Now, I talked to you earlier about this.
There's people on social media going crazy about eating any kind of fish. We're not talking about that group.
That's
of people,
true.
Right?
No.
Okay.
Just the bass. I mean, because at the end of the day, that is the main topic here is bass. Should we eat bass? Yes or no? You know, and I think that's a big important part of this. Now, I used an analogy earlier with you. If you were a hunter, a deer hunter, and most of the people who are watching this channel have hunted or know somebody who hunts, and there was a 200-inch deer and you shot it.
Right.
That deer is dead. It is super dead.
Yeah, it's gone.
It's gone, and you're going to eat it.
Yep.
And that deer is no more.
Correct.
How is that any different than somebody eating a 10-pounder?
It's the same.
It is the exact same.
It's the same.
And we applaud the guy shooting the 200-inch deer.
Yep.
And we demonize the person eating the 10-pound bass.
That is correct.
I will absolutely say the cool thing about bass fishing is it is, you know, you can re-catch a fish. Absolutely. We have both done it here lately. We caught sight fish over and over a few times just to see if it was possible. Caught the same fish. I want to say Steven Johnson and Todd Castledine both caught the same 10-pounder. Or I think one was a 12, one was a 11. I mean, it was within a year, but it was the exact same fish because it was tagged.
Okay. So,
yes, you can re-catch those same fish.
Absolutely.
But should we really just demonize these anglers that want to keep a 10-pounder? I don't know.
I know that, and I know this from years of fishing, right? From just experience. And I know that the big tournament lakes, like the big tournament lakes that have a lot of turnover, a lot of tournaments every weekend, and you guys may live by one. If you do, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Lakes that fall into that category, there is no doubt that if everybody just kept fish and ate fish every night, there wouldn't be any fish left in
Absolutely.
it, right?
I agree completely.
It would wipe them out.
Yep.
It would devastate
Yep.
them. So the fact that we do catch and release is great.
Yeah.
The times that I know that I personally see it fit are lakes that, A, usually aren't big tournament lakes.
Yeah, I agree.
B, they're usually overrun with a lot of little fish. Like there's a lot of little fish, and you very seldom catch big ones. I know McGee Creek in Oklahoma, when it was first built and flooded in southeastern Oklahoma, it fit this category.
Yeah.
It was a lake that, quite frankly, was just overloaded. Everybody loved to go there, but it just had a ton of 12 to 13, 14 inchers in it.
Yeah.
And that would have been a great lake where people would keep fish. Actually, Gene talked to me specifically about this lake and the slot and how it was left on McGee Creek for a long time. And he said, we set limits as the state of Oklahoma to help get some of those small fish out. But what's happened is with tournament fishing and all the of course now YouTube and just everything that's out there, we have educated all our anglers not to keep anything.
Absolutely.
So it's really hard for a state to manage the size of fish and fisheries now because everybody throws everything back, right?
And for the most part, that is exactly what anglers do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually kind of goes against what we should be doing based on conservation side of things.
Right.
Because we want you want to go catch a 10-pounder. You want to go catch an 8-pounder. You want to go catch a 5-pounder. It has been proven time and time again, you get rid of the smaller fish, the bigger fish are able to grow and eat and all that kind of stuff. If you don't ever keep any of the little ones, they don't get that size. And that is a fact, guys. Like, I know it's a hard fact, but that is a fact. So maybe instead of attacking each other, maybe what we should do is promote the fact that you should eat some bass from time to time.
Yeah.
Little bass. Here's some keepers.
And use good
14,
judgment.
15 inches.
Use good judgment of which lakes you're taking them out
Yeah.
of. Pay attention to where you're taking them.
Yeah,
Don't take them out of a Grand Lake in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
It's hard for those fish to survive. But when you're on places that are just choke full of small fish, Toledo Bend's a good example. Toledo Bend's a place that a lot of fish get eaten.
They do, and you know that 100%. I've got neighbors that eat bass every year, a lot of bass, and I've always had kind of a problem with it. But I can tell you one thing, guys. If you just smart about it, and you don't eat the really big ones,
right?
And you don't eat. Honestly, I always had a rule: you don't eat anything over 3 pounds. You could eat anything under 3 pounds. And that was all right. I just never wanted to eat, because I always thought a 3-pounder was a tournament fish. They want to eat a 3-pounder because I could use a 3-pounder in a tournament.
2.5 pounders I'm usually eating.
Yeah. Well, I get it. But I think you make a great point. You go to a lake that maybe doesn't get pressure, has a ton of little fish in it. That is the perfect place to eat some bass. Rayburn is not one of those lakes.
It is not.
It has got 3 to 4 tournaments on it every weekend. It is absolutely overfished. There's maybe not a lake in the country that's overfished more than Sam Rayburn is.
Yep.
Maybe Gunnersville. The list is very short. But it's very important to cull out some of those smaller fish. If you look at any pond management, even the number one thing that they do is they tell you keep those fish that are 12, 13, 14 inches. They want you to eat those fish. And the reason is, guys, and for the guys that don't understand this whole concept of eating bass, why you should eat the small ones, those bass are way faster than the big bass. They eat all the bait, they eat all the shad, the little bluegill, and the big fish just don't get to eat as much.
Or they don't get the opportunity when there's a bunch of little ones for a smaller group of those to get more food to grow to be bigger fish.
Exactly.
Right? They all stay stunted and small. You see that a lot in ponds.
Absolutely.
Where you don't see any big fish. They're all stunted. They're all small. And you know this after years and years of fishing. My father-in-law has one, and it's chock full of fish, has been since my wife and I have been together for 20 plus years. I still, 4-pounder's the biggest one I've ever caught out there. And guys, I spent a lot of time fishing this pond. It's a big pond.
Oh yeah.
You don't catch big ones.
We're here at Kicking Bass Lodge here at Choke Canyon, and I talked to the management here, and they said that they're keeping a lot of really big bass, and they're eating a lot of big bass. We saw this at Lake Amistad. We saw this at Lake Falcon. We've seen it at Toledo Bend.
Yeah.
Anywhere that they've listed that lake as number 1 in the country. That is detrimental to the big fish population. The more big fish you eat, if you're a meat eater and you're a foodie, you're fishing for food, that is detrimental to a fishing population. So I'm not saying that that's right. I think that's really harmful for a fishery. But a place like Choke Canyon is quite overfished. I mean, this is a small body of water, and we've seen, 100 boats out there. And And 100 boats on a Sam Rayburn, man, that's just a normal weekend, you know.
Yep.
But 100 boats on this body of water is a lot.
It is. It is a lot, and this may go a little bit against the grain because I mean this is where I'm at. And I know your videos. We're talking about eating bass right here. My personal feeling was more so really about eating bass at one time, and just because we're tournament anglers and we gamble on them, we had a trip to Falcon one time, and trip didn't go real well, and we caught some bass, and so we cleaned some fish, and it was the smaller ones like we're talking about. Dude, I think I'm not a superstitious guy, but I think I was jinxed for like 4 months, and I was like, I'm done. I'm never eating another one. Guys, we as fishermen are kind of superstitious, but probably didn't have anything to do with it. But no, definitely, creeks, rivers, streams, guys doing that type of fishing.
Ponds. Ponds is a great place to eat some
I was just going to say the flavor of the fish are a lot better. I know, in East Tennessee growing up, we did some red-eye fishing. It's what we call red-eye. It's kind of those red-eyed bluegill fish, we would catch those, and we would catch the little smallmouth fingerlings and stuff, and we ate those fish, and they were quite tasty.
Yeah.
And a bass in itself is going to be a lot better flavor than, like you say, once you get to 2.5, 3 pounds, that fish is not going to be as good as he would be.
It's a little gamier.
I mean,
the bigger the fish, the gamier the meat is.
Right.
It's kind of unlike deer. I actually like a big deer, a big old bulky 200-pounder. Those taste the best. Like, they're so good. Backstrap is the best thing in the world. But beyond that, if you want to eat fish, there's a lot of other options out there, guys. You don't have to eat bass, and I'm not promoting everybody go to the lake and eat bass. I personally don't like eating bass that much, and it has nothing to do with the tournament aspect. It's more the fact of the flavor.
I'm the same way. Dude, I love crappie.
I love crappie.
I love them.
And I love walleye.
I do too.
And I love perch from up north. Mm-hmm. The yellow perch.
Yep.
Actually, that would rival crappie. Yellow perch is one of the very best meat out there.
And I'm Okie 101, so like catfish is number one on my dinner plate. We love them. That's why we have catfish joints all over the state.
Y'all do have catfish joints. Kind of moving back to Texas, so I can say y'all now. But no, guys, there's a lot of other fish species out there, and if you want to eat those, that's fine. But let's kind of throttle back, take a step back a little bit, reevaluate angler on angler hate, because that doesn't build up this industry. That all that's doing is tearing us down. The more positive we can be, the more supportive we can be.
They're still a fish, dude.
It's still a fish.
It's a fish.
Here's a perfect
How many crappie
example.
get eaten every day? Spring.
Yeah.
It's a fish.
A perfect example, tournament angling. We have all done this, and any of you that say you haven't, you're lying. How many fish you hooked in the tongue and it died like that?
Oh, yeah.
How many fish you put in your live well and some mechanical error happened and the fish might have died?
Right.
We still kill bass.
Yeah.
We don't want to kill them. We're not choosing to kill them, but they die sometimes.
Right, we're not trying to.
That's part of it. Mm-hmm. I was telling you a story about Lake Murray, Forsyth Cup. Golly, it's been like 4 years ago now. I caught like a 7-pounder. I caught it, and I mean, guys, I'm going down the bank, okay, and I'm throwing a frog up to the bank, and I look out in like 25 foot of water, and this fish is swimming away from me on the surface, and the fishing was extremely tough.
Right.
I just roll cast my frog over there to it, let it sink down, and reeled it a little bit, and the fish turned. I thought it was a gar. I swear I thought it was a gar. I just didn't care. I was like, whatever. And I roll over there, and it eats it, and it's a 7-pounder. It doesn't even fight, and I get it in, I grab it, throw it in the live one, and it died 5 minutes. It was his last meal. It was swimming out in the middle of the water. I mean, it was going to die regardless if I caught it or not. It was his last meal.
I don't know if I'd suggest eating that one.
I wouldn't eat that one because there was obviously something a little wrong with that thing.
Yeah.
But, but what I'm saying is, guys, is we still kill bass.
We do.
And here's a perfect example. If you don't want to eat them, and maybe you're superstitious like maybe Hallman is, and you want to do your part, maybe go keep you a couple 13, 14 inches and clean them and give them to a homeless person, somebody that could really use the food. Cook them up some fish, let them have a good meal.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out there that really could use that help. So
I'm with you. I mean, as long as you can't be bad-mouthing people about eating fish. Because like I said, there's a lot of those boys from Louisiana come to Toledo and eat some fish. And man, I get it. I'm like you, though. Just don't fillet the big ones.
Yeah, don't fillet the big ones. And maybe that's what this title should have been. Don't fillet the big ones, guys. But eat them. It's okay.
Yeah.
We should work together with this. And next time you're on social media and you look up there and you're saying, okay, I just saw this guy lay out 10 bass and they're all like 2-pounders, 2.5-pounders. Instead of just going and railroading him about how terrible he is and how you just he cost you tournament money, maybe you should say, thanks, man. Thank you for keeping 2-pounders. I really appreciate that. Let's try to be more positive.
Yeah. Because most of the men, this is the honest truth, most of the men that introduced all of us and all the other pro anglers that are out there right now, and a lot of guys that are just fishing at a weekend level, the men that all brought us into this sport and taught us to love, you can just about guarantee that 90% of them laid fillet knives to them. So
absolutely,
there's that's the truth. So we've come a long ways with it, and sport keeps getting better and better.
Yep, absolutely. Guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of Andrew Upshaw Fishing. I know it was a little bit controversial, but sometimes the hard topics are the ones that we always need to talk about. And today we did. Hallman, thank you for joining me today, buddy.
It.
Hey, if you get a chance, check out Bradley Hallman Fishing on YouTube. The guy is booming right now. He is taking on. He's about to catch me on subscribers. I'm about to have to knock him out for that. I actually won't. He's a little bit big. But guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.